Hi everyone, Martha Ermias here, coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. How's everybody doing this morning? It's Monday, the 5th week of the year. I hope everybody's doing great. And again, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Martha Ermias. Hi Emmanuel, how are you? Nice to see you here. Hi Candice, good to see you here. Martha Ermias coming to you live from Columbus, Ohio. And today is Monday, the 5th week of the year. Very excited to be here. And I'm doing my 30-day Facebook Live challenge, which is about to end this week on Thursday. I can't believe it's been almost 30 days now. And I've been very enjoying this journey a lot. And I want to say thank you for those of you who've been reaching out and commenting, who've found value in the things that I've shared and asked questions and things like that. And those of you who shared my videos as well, it just makes me really, really happy to see that a lot of people, this is helping a lot of people. So it's really awesome. How's everybody doing? It's good to see you. Tesfa Hewitt, it's good to see you here. Salamoid, everybody, so good to see you guys here. If you find my message helpful today, please go ahead and share it. And I would like to know where you guys are joining from as well. It's really interesting to see what your city is, maybe your continent or state, whatever you want to say. It'd be great if you could just let me know where you guys are joining in from. And then also, if you're watching this as a replay, because I know a lot of people watch it as a replay, please put replay on the comment. So that way I know how many people watched it on the replay as well. Okay, so today I'll be talking about one of my favorite subjects. For those of you who don't know me, my passion, I have 3 passions. One of them is entrepreneurship, second is personal growth, and the third passion that I have is contribution. And today we are going to talk about personal growth, and the title of our topic today is the new you. How many people would like to see the new you? How many people would like to see a better version of you? If you're that 1%, a new you, please type in 1 and comment below typing 1 and let me know that you would like to see the new version of you, a better version of you. So today we're going to talk about personal growth. And when the subject of personal growth or personal development comes in, one thing that always strikes me is this is a topic that people don't actively think about. You know, it's not something that you always think about. It's not a common thing, basically. So a lot of people commonly don't think about their personal growth on a day-to-day basis. And this could be because, first of all, a lot of people are not aware that we can personally grow. We should engage in personal growth and what the benefits would be. There's actually a lot of factors why people don't really think about that. But I believe that if you really want to change your life or become successful or become better at whatever it is that you're doing, face your challenges much more at a much more higher level and be better at it, if you want to solve problems much easier, if you want to be happier, or even if you want to earn more income, the one project that you really should pay attention to and really at working at is really you. Your personal growth is really going to produce everything that you want in your life. So personal growth is very, very important. And for some reason, I've always been very interested in personal development. I remember a long time ago, maybe, 15, 16 years ago, thinking about ways that I can improve myself. I always thought about improvement. However, the benefit of it, once I started engaging in it, the benefit of it, I could see it, especially the last 3.5 years of my life. I think I feel like I've grown faster in those 3.5 years, more than any other time. Hi Aman, hi Azev, nice to see you guys here. So my personal development has been a lot more faster because I paid attention to it. It was more targeted, and I started focusing on it. Whatever you focus on, it starts to grow. And whenever you neglect, it starts to die. So because I started focusing on it and I started to see the fruit of it, and I'm very, very pleased and happy about that. And a couple of people recently asked me questions in terms of how do you engage in personal development? How much time do you need? Isn't life really too busy? Because some people are in school and they're studying really tough subjects, and when you're going to college, it could be a little bit overwhelming, and you probably don't have a lot of time, or not a lot of time, but maybe you don't want to focus on anything else but just school, right? And maybe you have to work as well. How do you incorporate personal growth or personal development during that time, or should you even do that? And those are the things that I really want to talk about today. First of all, let's talk about the benefits of personal growth, growing from year to year, becoming better and improving. Number one, it changes your perspective. A lot of times you can only solve problems based on what you know, what your perspective is. Hi David, nice to see you here. So based on what you know, and your perspective is really how you analyze a problem, and that's also how you solve a problem. So your ability to understand a problem and come up with solutions increases when you grow as a person. If you increase your mindset, if your perspective changes in the way you see things, because there's this thing, if you can imagine your eyes as wearing sunglasses, for example, the color of everything you see is really the color of the sunglasses that you're wearing. If you're wearing a pink sunglass, everything's going to look pink. If you're wearing a black sunglass, everything's going to be black. So it's just like that. Your perspective allows you to see reality in a specific way. And then you try to draw solutions to your problems based on how your perspective is. So personal development allows you to grow your perspective. Your perspective changes in such a way that you're more knowledgeable and you're more in line with reality. And then you come up with solutions that can really, really help you. Hi, Kokab, nice to see you here. And then also, if you engage in personal development or personal growth, your skill level also increases, especially, and I'm talking about, it could be any kind of skill level. You could go to school and be specialized in specific skill levels that are necessary for your career. And even when you're working or during your career, you can learn some things that can help you develop, increase your skill, which will make you marketable. But I'm talking about skill level in terms of your people skill or social skill. That's a very important area that we all need to grow in order for us to become more valuable in the marketplace, whatever it is. It could be your business, it could be your workplace, whatever it is. Your skill level will increase if you engage in your personal development or personal growth. And another important thing, with your personal growth, your ability to manage your emotions also increases. And that's a very important, because emotions are very powerful, guys. We all know that, right? Your ability to know how to handle your own emotions, because emotions, we are in control of our emotions. We have control over how we react towards the emotions that we have. Whether you can be a happier person or a more bitter person, or whether you could be someone who's really patient or someone who really doesn't have patience, who gets really angry and things like that. You have control over that. And with personal growth, your ability to manage your emotions also increases, which will affect your productivity and your effectiveness in life as well. Because emotions can always get in the way of us becoming more productive. So that's another benefit of personal growth. And also, the level of service and taking care of others, how you can contribute to others also increases. With personal growth, you have more to give. If you have more to give, you will be a better contributor to the life of others around you. It could be your family, it could be people you work with, or it could be even at a larger scale. You can make a bigger impact because you have more to give, and that's the other benefit of personal growth. And then personal growth also increases your ability to lead other people, which is also related to making an impact. So if all of this is really the benefit of personal growth, then why is it that very few people in the world are engaged in their personal growth? I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but do you think that a lot of people think about personal growth all the time, or they actually don't? Okay, can you type in and tell me? I can't see some of the comments here, but I'll read them later. Just tell me what you think. Do you think that personal growth is something that people think about a lot, or it's something that a lot of people don't even pay attention to? So just let me know what you think about that. However, with personal growth, a lot of people, a lot of successful business owners, successful leaders, motivational speakers, and influential people in our world right now, if you go back and study their history and how they get to where they got, a lot of them were not born with a lot of luxury to become the successful person that they have become. Actually, a lot of them came from a very unfavorable situation. I talk about Dani Johnson a lot because I'm really, really inspired by her story. Her background was she was raised on welfare, and her parents were very drug addicts, and also it was a very abusive home. It was a very dysfunctional home that she was raised at, and she got pregnant and had a child at the age of 17, barely finished high school, but didn't really, she had, her future was not meant to be the success that she is right now. Nothing prepared her. And what turned her life around is actually exposure. She attended a training seminar that turned her life around. And I think at the age of 21 or 22, she read a book that started to change the way she thinks. And ever since then, she's been investing in her personal growth, and that's why she has a lot to share, and she's an amazing trainer right now, very, very sought after. She didn't even go to college, but she's self-educated, and she's invested in her personal growth, and that's one of the things she always recommends too. Part of her seminar, her seminar is about growing yourself as well. And another guy that also impresses me, his story, is Tony Robbins. I don't know how many people know about Tony Robbins, but you guys can Google him. He's also a speaker and a trainer, transformational trainer. And Tony Robbins was also not raised in an environment or home where he was groomed for success. He was actually not groomed for success, but he wanted to be successful. And one of the things that he did, he actually worked as a janitor in Los Angeles, California, where he was cleaning office buildings all night long. And as he was doing that, he always had an earphone plugged in his ear and listening to a different personal development type of material, audiobooks and things like that all night long. And he read many books, and that's what shaped his mind, and that's how he started providing service in the same area, and he is the person that he is right now. He's very highly paid, and he's got a lot of businesses, very successful person. But the one thing that can really transform your life from just what I'm saying is really engaging in your personal growth. But before you even start engaging in your personal growth, I hope that I can convince you that anybody can grow. Anybody can be transformed. It's really what the information you put into your head and the environment that you put yourself around is what's going to shape you and influence you. Otherwise, whatever it is that you wish to achieve, you can achieve it. But personal growth is going to have to be part of your journey. Okay? So if this is the reality, then, let's talk about a few of the reasons why a lot of people are not engaged in their personal growth. They're not actively engaged in their personal growth. Number one, by default, a lot of people live in a very reactive mode as opposed to proactive mode. Okay, personal growth is not about today only, it's mostly about your future. It's about becoming the person that you want to become. Okay, so a lot of times though, we're putting out fire, trying to solve the day-to-day problems, reacting to whatever comes ahead of us. It's not very common for a lot of people to look into the future and be in a planning mode and invest their time so that their future can be different than the situation that they're in right now. So a lot of times, because we're always in a reactive mode as opposed to proactive mode, that's the reason why we really don't engage in personal growth. I mean, one example, for example, a lot of people with their health, they start to think about their health when they're sick. When there's so much information that tells us what we can do proactively to stay healthy before we get sick, we really don't do that, because as human beings, a lot of times we're reactive, not proactive. So that's one of the reasons why people don't engage in personal growth, because it's about the future. And second, people always miss the law of sowing and reaping. The law of sowing and reaping is just an amazing law of the universe. You only get what you planted. If you sow, then you're gonna reap the results, and you're gonna harvest the results of what you sow, right? At the same time, like for example, if you go to the bank and you want to withdraw some money, if you did not deposit some money beforehand, you're not gonna have anything that you can withdraw from. Okay, so when life happens, your ability to really overcome whatever is happening, or your ability to lead your life or lead other people with you, is going to be based on your good ability is going to be based on what you deposited into yourself. And again, this is being proactive as opposed to reactive. So if I want to become better, if I want to handle life better in the next year or 2 years, 3 years, I have to deposit and invest into growing myself now, so that next year I am at a better position to handle life and lead life and do great things. Okay, so yeah, that's the second thing. And third is really lack of awareness and exposure also. The importance of personal growth. Some people, they've never heard about it, or they really didn't think how important it is. And sometimes, when you hear information, just like what I'm sharing right now, when you hear information, other people telling their stories, you start to become aware how important that is. And then if you don't think it's important, you're not going to invest time, you're not going to invest resources, you're not going to do anything if you don't understand that it's important. So lack of exposure and awareness is another thing that holds people, from being engaged in personal development. The other thing is also, people may know that this is very important and they know that they have to do it, but then they're too busy. Being too busy and not having the time, handling the day-to-day task takes up everything, like their concentration, their focus, their emotion, and their time is all invested in what's happening for that day. I want to talk a little bit about that. To be honest, guys, that's never going to change. A lot of times we think, okay, I'm going to do this when my schedule is better, or I'm going to do this when I'm a little less stressed, but it's really not that things are going to get better. It's that the way we handle things, the way we approach life needs to change, because you never know what tomorrow is going to throw at you. Things may not change. And a lot of times when we put the important things for later, we find ourselves not doing it, because at that time new things come up that need our attention. So it's really not about how busy you are or not having the time or anything like that. It's actually how you view it, how you see it. You just have to make time. And being busy is also, I think, overrated, to be honest, because we all have enough time to do the things that we want, or to create the kind of results that we want and to prioritize. Because I'll tell you just one testimony of myself. Like when I decided to start a part-time business about 3.5 years ago, the first thought that came into my mind is, I'm too busy. That thought came into my mind. I said, I'm too busy. How am I going to find time about it? But then, thank God, I questioned that thought. I didn't just accept it and just brush it off. I questioned it and said, am I really too busy? When I asked that question and started to evaluate where my time is going on a daily basis, well, first of all, I told myself, if I'm too busy to spend half an hour a day to build a business part-time, then I must be ruling a country or something. Because, country leaders have a lot more responsibility, but they take the time to even play basketball or do something like that. So that can't be, First, I questioned my thoughts. And then second, when I evaluated my time, I found lots of things that I'm doing that actually are not, that I can give up easily. It's kind of like wasting my time as opposed to investing my time. Like, for example, the time that I spend scrolling, different feeds on my social media page. Do I really need to do that? That's one question. And the second is, I come home from work and I'm tired, so I feel like I need to entertain myself, so I probably watch a show or something like that. Can I cut down to 20 minutes and then use maybe 40 minutes of that to do something? So when you start to prioritize, you actually start to find time that was being wasted before that you can start to invest it. And the second thing is about time. Sometimes it's about learning how to manage your time, like learning how to be more productive with the little time that you have. Sometimes the way we do things takes a longer time as opposed to shorter time. And that's something that it's a skill that is necessary to build and become better at. Actually, one of my goals for this year is to increase my productivity, meaning with whatever time that I am blessed with on a daily basis, I want to accomplish more. But how do I do that? I don't do that by adding more tasks. I do that by being very effective with the little time that I have. So people think they're too busy to invest in personal development, but it's really not impossible. And I'll give you some tips that you can do in your really busy schedule to get this done. And one thing also you have to remember is all busy CEOs or country leaders and things like that, they invest in their personal growth because they need to give more, so they have to consume more, and they find time to do it, and it's so doable. And then the other thing is personal growth is about delayed gratification. A lot of times we want to see, a lot of times we think success needs to show up like tomorrow. Like, I've done something right now, so I need to see the result tomorrow. You really have to be patient with the natural process of transformation or becoming successful. And personal development is about transformation. It's about personal transformation to become a better person. And that takes time. Just like if you plant a tree, you still need to nurture it, but it's going to take time for it to be a full-blown tree. It's not going to grow to become a tree tomorrow. It needs time. So it's a delayed gratification. The result is delayed. You're going to see it in the future. You're not going to see it like right away. So you want to be a little bit more patient. And also, I think people get frustrated, and this is based on my own experience, prior experience, things that I overcome that I'm sharing with you. Sometimes we get frustrated because we want the result to be now. But things don't work like that. You have to be very, very patient with it, and it will look like that you're doing very little, but then at the end, the result's going to be like a total transformation. It will blow your mind. And so those are the things that I think hold people back from really engaging in personal development. But the other thing that we have to understand, though, is if we neglect our personal growth, we're definitely whatever you neglect dies. So we're gonna pay a price, whatever you haven't invested before, today you don't have it. So today you suffer because you didn't invest before. And whatever you start to invest now, you're gonna have the results in the future, and you're gonna be pleased with the results in the future. So it's very important. I'm just trying to say it again and again to see if I can inspire you guys to really engage in personal development, because it has changed my life, and I know it can change a lot of people's life if we all engaged in it. So how do we start our personal development or personal transformation journey? Personal development or personal transformation or growth really is about consuming the right kind of information on a consistent basis. You know, there's two things that we can do. Number one, we have to stop consuming information that's not going to be relevant for our growth. Because whatever you feed yourself, whatever you feed your mind is what's going to shape you. The way you feel, the way you think, your perspective, your view of reality, and your expectation about yourself, about reality, everything is going to be shaped by the stuff that you consume, because you're really shaping your mind, you're really shaping your perspective by doing that. You want to take less of that, you want to stop doing that, and stop watching TV. That's one of them, yes. Well, I'm not going to say you got to stop TV right away. You decide what you need to take out of your every single day schedule, but just see what's not relevant for you, what's not good for you. You know, if it's not good for you, take that, leave it. But also start pursuing information that's going to be really good for you. Pursuing information, actively pursuing information that's good for you. And I really recommend, guys, starting to read a book is a good place to start. I mean, it's very, very important. And I know that some of us like to read, and some of us do not like to read. And I'll tell you personally, you know, I went to school and things like that, but I think the last time that I read a book outside of school was in 2003, until I started to read again in 2014. So, well, maybe I read one or two in between, but I wasn't really a reader. And it's because actually I loved to read, because I was a reader before when I was growing up. But then, you know, I like to read fiction. That's the kind of books that I used to read. And I found out that it was influencing me a lot, making me a dreamer in the wrong way and things like that, like kind of live other people's lives as opposed to living my life, because I enjoyed fiction so much. So I decided to stop reading fiction like when I was in college. And because of that, I just didn't think that my desire to read books was not there anymore. It was kind of like a negative thing for me, reading books. But once I started my personal development journey, because I had that mental block, I didn't have appetite for it. I didn't like to do it, but I knew I had to do it. So what I did was, okay, what's the easiest way that I can get myself used to reading books? Okay. And I found out, like, with today's technology, there's audiobooks. You can listen to books in audio format. So I said, okay, I can listen to audio format. And second, I always believe that if you want to do something consistently, you have to create a habit around it. You know, you can't just do it when you feel like doing it, because you're going to find out that you're not going to feel like doing it for 2 months. There's no consistency, so it's not going to help you. So you have to create a habit around it. And once you start creating a habit around it, you actually start to feel good about it. You start to miss it. It becomes a habit. You start to like it and enjoy it as well. So in order for me to create a habit, what I decided to do is use my commute time to work to listen to books. Okay, so I made that decision and started doing it. The first 3-4 days wasn't fun, guys. I didn't like it, because prior to that, that was the time when I would call my friends and connect with people. I enjoyed doing that. Like, I did that for years. And this is a new habit, like trying to replace an old habit with a new habit. And, you know, I didn't feel good about it, but I knew that I needed to stick to it and be persistent with it and get used to it, because it was something that's going to help me in the future, with my future. And funny thing that happened is, in about a week or so, I got used to it. And the information that I was listening to was amazing. It was starting to help me, and I started to enjoy it. And then I started getting the next book. And if I'm not getting a book, then, you know, either it's a video or whatever information related to the area where I wanted to grow, I started to listen to that. And till this day, if I'm not working, if I'm like doing like household chores, or because I work from home right now, so I don't commute anymore, but whenever I'm like cleaning the house or doing something, I'm always listening to something. So it's a habit that has been built in me now. So that's one thing that you can do. And the other thing I want to recommend is sometimes you can actually start to enjoy it too much that you're all going to be about personal development, and that's not a good thing either, because you really need to produce, you need to implement, you need to live life and implement what you're learning. So the personal development time shouldn't be more than 30 minutes. Whatever you're doing, if you're reading a book or you're listening to a book or audiobook or podcast, there's also a lot of podcasts on iTunes that you can subscribe and start listening to. Whatever you're doing, 30 minutes a day is better. But then if you do 30 minutes a day every single day, think about how much information you can consume in a year. So that's the easiest way to start consuming information that's going to really transform your life. And then whatever is really a priority area for you, if it is about raising children, if it's about relationships, if it's about business, if it's about career, start looking for books and information that's going to be helpful to you. If it's public speaking, whatever it is that you're trying to become good at, like whatever priority area is for you, go ahead and get information on that area, because there's just so much resources for very little money, or sometimes even free, that you can start consuming. So build a habit, and then and the other thing is also hang out with people that are also seeking personal growth, just like you. You want to surround your environment, because our environment is very, very important, guys, because as Jim Rohn says it, he says that you're the average of the 5 people you spend most of your time with, always. The way you think, your level of income, your interest, a lot of it is really influenced by the people that you spend a lot of time with. So we have to be very conscious about choosing our intimate circle, the 5 people that we spend a lot of time with. So if you really want to start engaging in personal growth, you have to be conscious about that and start looking for people who have the same interests as you. And that could be in Facebook groups, it could be online, it could be real friends around you, but you just have to be aware of it. If you're aware of it, then you will know who you want to hang out with more. So you need to bring people into your life that are more geared to support your goal, because that's going to be a motivational factor for you as well. So all of this, it's going to really, you once you start doing it, you're going to not only love it, but you're also going to start growing deeper in who you are, in understanding yourself, in understanding other people, in how you form relationship with other people, in your skill level, in your overall happiness, and you will overcome life and elevate to the next level much, much easier if you start doing that. Now, before I finish, what I would like to do is give you a list of about 5 books that I found to be very, very good and helpful in my personal development. That way, if you're looking for resources, maybe this is a place where you can start with your personal development journey. The first one, I've mentioned it before, is really one of the best books that I've read, is The Compound Effect. It's by Darren Hardy. It's about how little everyday things, how they affect and shape our lives. And so, I mean, I can't really explain it. You really have to read it. It's about building habits, but it's really changed my perspective, and I started to apply it in my life until this day. Actually, those principles, it's principles, wisdom that is almost like a common knowledge, but something that we really don't live by. But the way he wrote it, the way he puts it together, really encourages you to start applying those laws of the universe and wisdom to help you become the kind of person that you need to become. Second book I really recommend and like is Boundaries. It says it's about how when to say yes and how to say no to take more control over your life. Amazing book if you want to understand how to be happier, and especially when it comes to relationship with other people. Sometimes, you know, we feel guilty to say no to people, and sometimes we, you know, we give with no limits, and then we get burned out. Sometimes all we say is no, where we don't have a good boundary, and we don't know how to bond and connect with people, all of that. And those kinds of interpersonal issues, it helps you understand how to form proper boundaries so that you're happy as a person, and you're also affecting other people and helping them in their interpersonal relationships as well. So Boundaries is a good book. It's by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. Another great book that I found is Save People. Save People is also by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. And that book is about, you know, how to pick your good friends, how to really pick the right kind of people that you want to have close relationship with. Because sometimes, you know, not understanding that whole dynamic could lead you into connecting or creating partnerships with not the right people, and that can hurt you in the long run. So that's a book that I really loved reading, and it has helped me a lot in my life as well. And the other book is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book is about communication, you know, how to communicate with people to gain their friendship, and also have a better understanding between you and other people. It's just about understanding other people, and having people skill is really one of the greatest skill you can have in life. So it's actually, I think, 70 or 80-year-old book, but it's used by many trainers, and the principles that come from that is, you will find it in other books, other trainings as well. Very great book. And then the fifth one is about, it's called, How to Win Friends and Influence People is by Dale Carnegie. And the fifth one is Think and Grow Rich. And this book is an amazing book. It's by Napoleon Hill. I actually had to read it 3 times to really understand it. It's a little bit complicated, a little bit. It's not an easy read, and it was written a long time ago. But this book was kind of like a report. He wrote it based on a 25-year researching other a lot of successful people in America, and he studied how they think. So it's basically, it's how your thought process could affect your success in life. Think and Grow Rich. So it's a book that I think anybody who's looking to become better and to become successful should read. Once you start to understand those principles, I think you start to operate your life a little bit differently, and it's just an amazing book, but really not easy to read, and I had to read it 3 times. I still need to go back and read it. It's a book that you really want to go back to and even study as a textbook. That's actually one of the things that he recommends. So those are the 5 books that I recommend, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. If you like it and if you think that other people can benefit from it, please go ahead and share it. I appreciate you for doing that. If you have any questions, yes, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that's a great book. I wasn't talking about business, but I was going to mention that on a different video. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki is also a very good book, especially if you're thinking about investment and things like that, 21st century business and things like that. Thank you so much for that, Haji. Thank you, Haji, for sharing that. So guys, thank you so much for joining me today. This is it for today. And again, please go ahead and share it if you like it, and if you think other people can benefit from it. And also, I will be more than happy to add you into my private Facebook page if you want to continue to get resources like this and grow together. If you want me to add you to the English page, please go ahead and say add English. If you want me to add you to the Tigrinya page, which we have a different page for that, go ahead and say add Tigrinya, and I'll be more than happy to do that. Okay? All right, guys, thank you so much for all of the hearts and the thumbs up and the commenting and interacting. I really do appreciate you. God bless you all, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.